So, is a robot coming for your job? I mean, it's the question on everyone's mind, right? From the factory floor all the way up to the C-suite. Are we looking at a future of mass unemployment? Or is AI about to kick off the biggest revolution in how we work that we've ever seen? Let's get into it. Look, this isn't science fiction. This is a real story from a real warehouse, and it just perfectly captures that anxiety so many of us are feeling. For 23 people, this wasn't about optimizing a workflow. It was about their workflow, their job being completely eliminated. And this is not some one-off story. The World Economic Forum is projecting that by 2025, a mind-blowing 85 million jobs are going to be displaced. Just let that number sink in for a second. 85 million. And if you want to zoom out even further, a report from Goldman Sachs estimates that AI could automate tasks that affect up to 300 million full-time jobs around the world. The scale of what we're talking about here is it's immense. And maybe the craziest part? The speed. This change is happening at absolute lightning speed. An MIT study found that AI is being adopted in the workplace 4 times faster than industrial robotics were back in the 2000s. We're not talking about a disruption cycle of years anymore. We're talking months. All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with that initial shockwave and see who's really at risk. Then we'll look at the whole idea of humans and machines working together, check out the new jobs that are popping up, and figure out when teaming up with AI actually makes sense. And finally, we'll see who's building the workforce of the future. Okay, first up, let's look at the front lines of all this change. Which sectors are feeling this heat the most? Now, what's really interesting here is the type of work being affected. For decades, automation meant robots doing heavy lifting, manual labor. But look at this. We're seeing huge risk in administration and customer service, jobs that need you to think, not just move things around. That's a massive shift. So the key takeaway here is that this is not just another wave of factory automation. Generative AI is a whole different beast. It's way cheaper to get started with, it targets thinking and analysis, and its disruption cycle is measured in months, not years. But is replacement the whole story, or is something else going on? So let's flip the script. Let's move on and see how this story isn't just about replacement, but maybe, just maybe, it's about partnership. And this brings us to this really cool concept, the cobot. Think of it like the anti-Terminator. These machines are literally designed from the ground up to work safely right next to people. They're a tool, not a replacement. And this just perfectly illustrates this huge shift in thinking. We're moving away from automating the human out of the process and moving towards augmenting the human within the process, right? Whether it's a cobot doing the dangerous lifting or AR glasses showing a mechanic exactly what to fix, the goal here is enhancement. I absolutely love this quote because it gets right to the heart of it. The value of a human worker is shifting. It's less about their physical strength and more about those uniquely human skills: critical thinking, quality control, troubleshooting, managing these complex systems. The AI isn't coming for your job. It's coming for the boring, repetitive parts of your job. And naturally, when you start empowering workers with new tools and you start focusing on these new skills, you create a demand for entirely new kinds of jobs. So, hey, remember that big, scary number, 85 million displaced jobs? Well, that same report from the World Economic Forum projects that 97 million new roles will be created by 2025. You do the math, that's a net gain of 12 million jobs. The story isn't just loss, it's transformation. And we're not talking about some abstract, far-off jobs here. These are real, high-paying career paths that are opening up right now. You've got community colleges like Laney College already building entire programs around them. I mean, think about it. Roles like prompt engineer or AI ethics reviewer, these jobs literally didn't exist a few years ago. And now they're some of the fastest growing jobs out there. But, and this is a huge but, here's the massive challenge. We've got the jobs being created, but we have a gigantic skills gap. We are simply not preparing people for these new roles fast enough. So yeah, creating the jobs is one thing. Actually filling them is a whole other problem. So if we need to bridge that gap, we need to learn how to collaborate with AI. Which of course raises a really critical question. Is teaming up with an AI always the best way to go? It's easy to just assume that a human plus an AI is always going to be better than either one on their own. But some really fascinating research from MIT Sloan shows that, well, the reality is a lot more complicated than that. Okay, this table from MIT is honestly amazing. It shows that the best way to do things completely depends on the task. For stuff where AI is just better, like spotting fake reviews online, it's best to just let the AI run the show. But for tasks that need deep human expertise, like telling different bird species apart, that human AI team is the absolute winning formula. And where it gets really cool is in creative work, where an AI can be an incredible brainstorming partner, but you still need that human touch for the final judgment. So, given this really complex new world of job loss, job creation, and tricky collaboration, how in the world do we prepare? Well, it's going to take a massive, coordinated effort from pretty much every part of society. And the good news is, this is already starting to happen. Governments all over the world are waking up to this challenge. We're seeing everything from new taxes to pay for social safety nets, to huge investments in retraining, to new laws that actually hold companies accountable for how they use AI. And experts from the national academies are really clear on this. It can't be a piecemeal effort. To make this transition work, you need a unified national strategy. That means getting companies, unions, and schools all in the same room, building a real pipeline of talent. It means investing big and reskilling and creating a culture where learning never, ever stops. So, when you boil it all down, here's the deal. The story of AI and your job isn't a passive one where you just wait to be replaced. It's an active story of adaptation, of learning, and of collaboration. The tech is here, and yeah, it's rewriting the entire rulebook. The only real question left is, how are you going to learn to play the new game?